Hi, thanks for joining me on the Listen Up Grow podcast, where I bring you LGBTQ plus news several times a week. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman. I'm bringing you news for Wednesday, October the 1st. And my first story is MAGA is outraged over Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. This week, it was announced that Puerto Rican superstar and LGBTQ ally Bad Bunny will headline this February's Super Bowl halftime show. It has sparked a wave of outrage from conservative commentators. Critics on the right have resurfaced a fake AI generated video that falsely claimed the Grammy winner swore never to perform in the United States again due to ICE raids. Conservative pundits latched on to the clip, calling his speech un American and even demonic because of his past cross dressing performances in his Spanish language songs. But for millions of fans, Bad Bunny represents a cultural milestone, a Latin, queer friendly artist taking one of the world's biggest stages. For many in the LGBTQ plus community, his performance is not only about music, but about visibility, diversity, and pushing back against narrow definitions of who belongs in American pop culture. So, just to throw my 2 cents into it, Puerto Rico is part of America, part of the United States, just because it's not a state, it is a territory. And really, because he is a Spanish language speaker and he's done some cross dressing in his past performances, it just makes the people on the right scared. They're scared of it. But don't forget JD Vance. We have pictures of him in drag. Next story is Trump post AI attack video of Democratic leaders. President Donald Trump is facing criticism after posting AI generated video mocking Democratic leaders, Jeffries, and Chuck Schumer. The video portrayed Jeffries wearing a sombrero while mariachi music played, and an artificial Schumer voice ranting about woke trans bullshit. The post landed hours after Trump and JD Vance met with Jeffries and Schumer to discuss a government funding bill. Critics say the video demonstrates Trump's growing reliance on AI driven disinformation and the willingness to weaponize racist and transphobic stereotypes, even while negotiating critical legislation like avoiding government shutdown. For LGBTQ plus communities, it's yet another reminder of how trans and queer identities are being reduced to political punchlines by those in power. You would think, with the government being shut down, they would put all their transphobic, racist thoughts behind them for the moment and focus on getting the government back up and running. But nope, they can't do that. Next, Margaret Cho slams Representative Nancy Mace over anti trans rhetoric. Bisexual comedian Margaret Cho is calling out South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace in no uncertain terms. In a Facebook video that quickly went viral, Cho opened up with, "Nancy Mace, you stupid bitch." The name Mace is appropriate because every time you talk, it's like pepper spray in my face. She accused Mace of exploiting transphobia and political gain and said her rhetoric contributes to real harm, including violence against trans people. Cho's blunt words reflect a growing frustration within queer communities as lawmakers continue to push anti LGBTQ plus legislation. By using her platform to call out Mace, Cho is reminding her audience that language isn't harmless. It shapes policy and it shapes lives. Good for you, Margaret. Thank you for doing that for our community. Next, disturbing report suggests the FBI is preparing to classify transgender Americans as violent extremist threat group, a move tied to recommendations in the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025. Such a designation would not only escalate surveillance and criminalization of trans people, but would also give a future Trump administration a dangerous new tool to justify policies against them. Civil rights advocates are sounding the alarm, arguing that this is not a trans issue, but a fundamental threat to democracy and civil liberties. If identity itself becomes a target for a government watch list, it sets a precedent that endangers everyone. LGBTQ leaders are calling on allies, particularly cisgender straight Americans, to stand up and oppose this before it takes root. My next story is Pete Buttigieg calls for progressives to reclaim patriotism. Former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is encouraging Democrats to reinvent their image by embracing patriotism as a progressive value. In a recent speech, Buttigieg said patriotism doesn't just mean exclusive or nationalism. Instead, it should be about inviting people into a shared national product. He noted that progressive patriotism was once seen as a contradiction in terms, but argued that the left must speak directly to working class pride and identity if they want to compete politically. Buttigieg's messages resonates with many LGBTQ plus advocates who see pride and patriotism as compatible, both about fighting for the right to belong fully in society. Next, Representative Ashley Hinson demands federal probe into LGBTQ plus school video. Iowa Republican Representative Ashley Hinson has called for a federal investigation into her son's high school after students produced a short video for Bisexual Awareness Week. Hinson sent a letter to Education Secretary Linda McMahon. LGBTQ advocates countered that video was led by students and designed to the clash reflects the broader national battle over LGBTQ plus visibility in schools, with conservatives framing it as an attack on parental control, while progressives argue it's essential for the safety and well-being of queer students. Next, Gavin trolls JD Vance with drag photo. California Governor Gavin Newsom's office has entered the culture war fray in a uniquely California trolling. After conservatives erupted over Bad Bunny's Supertime halftime announcement, claiming his past cross-dressing and Spanish lyrics were unfit for American audience, Newsom's office posted an old picture of JD Vance dressed in drag. The move highlighted the hypocrisy of politicians who condemn drag performances while having participated in themselves. For LGBTQ plus advocates, it was a reminder that drag has long been part of American cultural expression, and outrage over it often reveals more about political optimism than genuine concern. I mean, you did it. Giuliani dressed in drag also. I mean, all these Republicans are so two-faced. They have like dual personalities or something. It's like they forget what they did. And who cares? You dressed in drag. I mean, God, like get over it. Next, government shutdown begins amid healthcare standoff. The United States government has officially shut down after lawmakers failed to pass a funding bill. At the center of the deadlock are healthcare subsidies provided through Affordable Care Act. Trans Congresswoman Sarah McBride posted a mocking video on social media pointing out that Republicans were missing in action during critical negotiations. The shutdown will furlough federal employees, delay services, and create economic uncertainty. But for LGBTQ plus communities, the debate also ties directly to healthcare access, which remains under constant political attack. Next, Ariana Grande uses her platform to criticize Trump's anti-trans agenda. Pop icon Ariana Grande is stepping up as an ally once again. On Instagram, she reposted a graphic by advocates at MATTXIV criticizing the administration's anti-trans policies and asking the blunt question, has your life gotten better? The White House quickly issued a defensive statement, only adding fuel to the fire. Grande, who stars in the movie Wicked, has long used her voice for LGBTQ plus causes. For queer fans, her advocacy underscores how mainstream celebrity can amplify awareness at a moment when trans rights are under siege. And my final story for today is Indya Moore calls out Ryan Murphy over trans representation. The Post star Indya Moore went live on Instagram to stress the importance of LGBTQ plus solidarity with trans people. Moore criticized Hollywood producer Ryan Murphy, accusing him of abandoning trans voices like Janet Mock during the Trump administration. They said Murphy's silence allowed racism and violence to fester on his show. Moore's comments reignited conversations about how representation in entertainment matters, not only for visibility, but also for the safety and dignity of marginalized communities. So that is my news for Wednesday, October the 1st. Tune in tomorrow because I have more news to give you on the LGBTQ plus world. Thanks for joining. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And please leave a comment on my podcast. Have a great day.